I'm in Edmonton, in Canada, and this evening I'm talking about the future of well-being. And I had a lot of media this morning that I had to do, so I'm a little delayed, but here I am now. So the question that has been asked, and is in fact one of the chapters in the book, um, "You Are the Universe: Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters," and you can join the conversation here on discoveringyourcosmicself.com. And the question today is, do we live in a conscious universe? Which also, by the way, is one of the chapters. So today I'm not going to read from the book, but also Aurora, who sent me the question, also asked, what is first, second, and third party consciousness, and how are they used in science today? Can the understanding of these terms and their importance help science advance? So let's talk about third party consciousness. Is basically what we refer to as the objective world. The objective world is independent of consciousness, is the way we do science. And, then there are basically measurements that are made, and we all agree on the measurements, and that is what we call the objective universe, third party consciousness. There is an underlying assumption that objective reality is independent of an observer. Of course, there's no way to prove that, and also there's no way to say that the world is independent of the experience of the world. But it's a good way to do science, by the way. And we can do replicable experiments, predictable experiments. We can predict certain outcomes, and when we can test them. So theory, experimentation, observation, all go together, validation. Also, third-party consciousness is the way we create technology. Second party consciousness is that we observe other people and we know that they are conscious in that they respond to us, right? Right now you're observing me, and presumably you're observing a sentient being. And so there is second party consciousness, no direct experience, which is personal. So first party is personal experience, having the personal experience of sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. Okay, so of course, the understanding of these terms is important, because then we know how people do science and what is the difference between so-called objective reality and personal reality. Okay, but this is not really what I wanted to talk about. In general, what I wanted to talk about is the fact that, first of all, we know there is consciousness because we know that we experience thoughts and feelings. We also know that we call those thoughts and feelings the mind. And then we also know that we experience sensations and perceptions which give rise to the experience of the world. But we can't explain the mind because that's called the hard problem of consciousness. Where does a thought come from? And what happens to it after the thought dies, when it's gone? Okay, so Punacha Machaya is watching this and he's saying www.discoveringyourcosmicself.com. That's where you can engage in the conversation. And then the hashtag is YATU. I'll put that hashtag in the future. YATU, capital YATU, slash, the hashtag YATU, if you want to share and we want to exchange ideas. Here is something then we need to understand. The mind cannot explain the mind, right? You can't use a thought to explain a thought. That's would be impossible then to explain a thought if you only had thought as your instrument to explain the thought. But you can track a thought back to its source, And where is that source? That source is awareness. Okay, you can trace a perception back to its source. Where are you experiencing sound? In awareness. Where you're experiencing seeing? In awareness. Taste? In awareness. Smell? In awareness. Texture? In awareness. Color? In awareness, right? You're not having the experience in the brain. What you're having in the brain is what are called neural correlates of experience. Qualia are not to be found in the brain. All that's found in the brain is electrochemical activity, which are the neural correlates of experience. In this scheme of things, I'm also saying that our body is an experience, a constantly changing experience, because the body is never the same. It's a process, right? Our thoughts are an experience. The world is an experience. So in this scheme, thoughts are mental objects. The feelings are mental objects. Sensations are mental objects. The body is a perceptual object. Everything else is a perceptual object. Also, if you try and understand this, then there is no difference between in here and out there. Because in here, what I call in here and out there, is one activity of the universe, right? And that activity is happening in what we call I. The I of experience is not in the experience. Consciousness as an object will never be valid, because the object itself is an experience in consciousness. You can't look for consciousness in an object of experience, because, and that includes the brain. It's an object of experience, okay? So where do we have the experience? We have it in what we call I. The I is the awareness, the common ground of all experience. So our experiences are different. Our perceptions may be different. Different species have different perceptions of the world. But the awareness in which those experiences are happening is one. So the awareness in which I am experiencing this body-mind, and the awareness in which I experience you, and the awareness in which I experience anything else, an object, a book, the computer, etc., and the awareness in which I experience the universe, that is one. It's one and the same awareness. Puna Chamacha just posted an equation. U is equal to C. That's what we say in the book. U is consciousness. You, universe, and consciousness are the same thing. You, universe, and consciousness are the same thing. So the universe is what consciousness looks like to itself when experienced perceptually. That's it. So simple. And that includes, what we know of the universe. The knowing is also in consciousness. So right now people are saying there are 2 trillion galaxies. 2 trillion galaxies. And each of them has billions, hundreds of billions of stars. And stars have planets. So right now scientists are saying that the number of habitable planets possibly is 1 followed by 22 zeros. Amazing, isn't it? And how do we know this? We know this through science. But where is science an activity? Science is an activity in consciousness. Scientific theories are in consciousness. Experiments are designed in consciousness. And observations are made in consciousness. The hard problem of consciousness is we cannot explain how atoms and molecules and chemicals and brain produce experience. This is called the hard problem. The easy problem is solved. It says that every experience has a neural correlate in consciousness. So now, right now, there are many theories, okay, about the universe. Superstring theory, supersymmetry, chaotic inflation, eternal inflation, um, cosmic inflation, on and on. But all these theories are also in consciousness. So, as Max Planck said, you cannot get behind consciousness. Okay. Why bother? Why is this important? Well, then it's important because we realize that what we call objective reality is intersubjective experience in the human species. It's not the experience of a butterfly or a moth or an insect or a dolphin or an eagle. So there's no such thing as a fixed universe, right? There's no such thing as a fixed universe. The universe is infinite possibilities at all times, and it's always now. Time, space, causality are modes of interpretation of experience. And when we trace back everything to its source, there's only consciousness. Whatever you want to call that, spirit, the ineffable, transcendent self, God, it doesn't matter. And in that space, there's inseparability, so there's also love. There's also compassion. There's also joy. There's also mystery. There's also adventure. There's also a knowing that we live and breathe in this mystery. And when we live and breathe in this mystery, we continue to experience wonder. As Rumi said, he said, exchange your cleverness for bewilderment. And when we are astonished, that's a spiritual experience. Astonishment, humility, reverence for life, love. That's it. And then life is a celebration. Every moment is a celebration. Okay, so that's it for now. Do we live in a conscious universe? The universe is consciousnness. And you are that. I am that. All this is that. That alone is. That's the meaning of the expression Tattvamasi. Aham Brahmasmi. I am the universe. You are the universe. Okay, the ground state of being before it moves into sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, and sense perceptions. That is who we are. And this is timeless. And therefore, it has no beginning, no ending. And as the Bhagavad Gita says, water cannot wet it, wind cannot dry it, weapons cannot shatter it, fire cannot burn it. It's you, eternal, immortal, timeless being. See you. The book will be out February 7th in all bookstores, but you can join the conversation now and you can also pre-order it if you want. Hashtag YATU, Y-A-T-U, capital Y-A-T-U. Thank you and God bless. See you. Maybe not tomorrow, I'll be traveling, so maybe Saturday. Okay, thanks.